The emergence of the BRICS currency as a major reserve asset is just one example of how the BRICS alliance is creating ripples in the global economy. The worth and use of the currencies of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa have been going up, which has changed the way the world's finances work. Are you sick of the old Western forces controlling the world's banking system? Do you want to learn more about a new person coming into the game? Just look at the BRICS currency. As Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa's economies continue to grow and spread, their currencies become more valuable and used more often. Join us as we talk about the pros and cons of this new currency and how it is changing the way money is handled around the world. One of the main reasons for the rise of the BRICS currency is that the BRICS countries are becoming more important in terms of their economies. As their economies continue to grow and spread, their currencies have become more valuable and are swapped more often. For example, the Chinese yuan has been slowly gaining ground as a reserve currency, with more central banks around the world adding it to their foreign exchange reserves. This is a big change because the US dollar and the euro have been the most important saving currencies in the world for a long time. But as the BRICS economies continue to grow, their currencies are becoming more and more seen as good options for these well-known ones. Along with the BRICS countries' growing economies, the group has taken steps to make it easier for their currencies to be used in international trade and banking. One important example is the BRICS banking system, which lets member countries do business directly with each other without the need for middlemen like US banks. This is a big deal because it makes BRICS countries less dependent on the US dollar, which has been the most important currency in international trade and banking for decades. The growing role of the BRICS countries in international financial institutions is another important reason why the BRICS currency is becoming more and more famous. The BRICS countries set up the New Development Bank in 2014. It has already given loans to a number of developing countries and is becoming a more important part of the world banking system. The BRICS countries have also tried to set up their own credit rating agency, which could be a good option for the credit rating agencies that are controlled by the West. The decline of the US dollar's power and the rise of China as an economic powerhouse in the world are two outside factors that have helped the BRICS currency gain popularity. As the world becomes less controlled by the US and Europe and more diverse, more and more people see the BRICS countries as a good option to traditional Western powers. But the BRICS currency also has problems to deal with. One of the main problems is that some of the currencies, like the Russian ruble and the South African rand, don't have enough cash on hand. Because of this, it's hard to use these currencies in foreign trade and banking. Also, there are worries about the security of some of the currencies, especially the Brazilian real, which has been hit by economic and political turmoil in recent years. The BRICS countries have different economic systems and strategies, which is another problem. For example, Brazil depends a lot on exporting raw materials, while China is a big producer and shipper. This can make it hard for the alliance to organize policies and come up with a solid business plan. Even though these problems exist, the growing acceptance of the BRICS currency is a big change in the world's financial scene. As the union continues to grow and become more integrated, its currencies are likely to become even more valuable and widely used in international trade and banking. But solving the problems that the currencies face will be very important for their continued growth and success. This could mean making the currencies more flexible and stable, as well as encouraging the BRICS countries to work together more on their economic policies and plans. But it's important to remember that the BRICS currency still has to deal with problems. Even though the currency is becoming more and more famous, it is still not fully established as a global reserve currency, and it has to compete with other well-known currencies. The economies of the BRICS countries are also still growing, and they face a number of political, social, and natural problems that could slow their long-term growth. Still, the BRICS currency could have a lot of positive effects. It gives an option to the traditional banking system dominated by the West and gives the BRICS countries a chance to work together more on economic and political issues. With continued investment and growth, the BRICS currency could become a big player in the global financial system and change the way we think about international finance. Thank you for coming with us to talk about the rise of the BRICS currency and how it affects the world's banking system. Get in touch with us for more videos.